What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Uncredentialed Sports Podcast. Starting off here, I'm Cody, along with CJ, Trevor, and the Box, who today, August 20th, is the Box's 24th birthday. So happy birthday, Box. He's currently occupied with other matters right now, but he is still with us in spirit.
The Destiny raid. Don't worry.
So, today's episode, talking a little bit about the NBA playoffs. We are well into the first round for all the seeding games. Also, a little bit of Major League Baseball talk with Fernando Tatis and Juan Soto. College football talk with some of the transfer eligibility and what the season's going to look like. And then also a special segment from the Box himself. All right, starting things off with the Eastern Conference. We'll start with the very top. Number 1 Bucks against the number 8 Magic. Today, the series tied up at 1 game apiece with the Bucks getting that victory. So, CJ, we'll go to you. What do you think about that series so far?
I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be 2-0 in the beginning. Honestly, Magic surprised me in the first game. Watching the games, the Bucks, they just need help. Giannis needs help. Chris Middleton's been struggling. Eric Bledsoe hasn't been doing a lot of scoring. So they need to find out who's going to be that second option until Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe can step up and help Giannis.
Trevor, I want to hear about your Magic, man. I want to hear it coming from like the only Magic fan that I have ever known in my life. I want to hear what you're thinking.
Yeah, like everybody else in the world, I think when I saw the predictions, I thought it was going to be a sweep as well. This Magic team, they weren't going to have AG for a while. And then when Jonathan Isaac went down, I kind of assumed it was going to be over before it started. So when I tuned into game 1 to watch, I was really impressed. More so Nikola Vucevic has been really great offensively for the Magic.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to last year, I think he averaged 11 points a game in the series with the Raptors last year. So for him to go out here and have 20-point games is really what this team needs, is someone who can actually put the ball in the hole consistently. But I was actually more impressed with the Magic bench than anything, watching these past 2 games. In game 1, I think they got a really good spark from Wes Iwundu for a couple minutes. Kem Birch, who is normally our third center, but Mo's not playing, has been absolutely fantastic. And I think when we have Gary Clark on Giannis, I think having Kem as somebody who can body up and whenever he tries to do that spin move, cut him off, has been really beneficial for us. The Bucks didn't shoot well game 1. They kind of came out game 2 and figured it out a little bit more. I think we still did a pretty good job on Giannis game 2. I know he had almost 20 rebounds, but he committed seven turnovers if you count the last one. That was kind of questionable. And he's going to get his. There's no question about it. He's going to get his. But I think going forward, if the Magic really want to have a chance in this series, they got to kind of have to figure out a way, because I know AG is going to come back after this game. But we got to have to make that decision, because we can't have Vooch being the rim protector out there, because that's not going to happen. He can either commit to trying to help off Giannis, or he can commit to guarding Brook Lopez in the corner, but he can't do both. So we're going to have to see some interesting lineups adjustments. I don't know how well that wall is going to work continuing going forward, but if they can sneak another game or so out of it, it'd be nice to see.
I actually was very pleased to see them take game 1. I don't think that they're going to win another one. I think the Bucks have kind of woken up after that first game. Giannis especially. I think the only player in Bucks history besides Kareem to have a 20-20 game in the playoffs with 28-20 today. But it's funny you mentioned those turnovers in that last one he had in this game, where I think he thought he got fouled or something. They called a travel on him. He's getting ornery, man. He was a pretty mild-tempered guy and stuff. And if you see him off the court, he's a really good with the fans, everything, really engaged with his community. But on the court, he's been getting very temperamental in recent weeks, even, and even I guess over the course of the season. So I think it's kind of funny. Everybody's talking about him being the face of the league at one point, and I just don't think that's going to happen anymore because he loses cool way too much. But yeah, no, Vucevic has been great with 35 and 14 in game 1, then 32 and 10 today. and I think that, his ability to step out and hit the three, like he's kind of developed that over, his years in the league. It's gotten better and better every year. So I think it's really been a plus for the Magic. But like I said, I was happy to see him at least get game one to show that the Bucks are a vulnerable team, because everybody's talking like they were such a high praise team and everything because they had the best record coming in. But it's frightening. If I'm a Bucks fan, I'm a little scared right now because, like you guys mentioned, Middleton and Bledsoe have been playing great, and Middleton needs to step up and be the second superstar.
Oh, Middleton's been a non-factor.
Yeah.
This whole time. I mean, James Ennis has really locked him down. And I remember first game one, it was the second possession. There was running down the court. They were actually pushing each other, shoving each other underneath the basket a little bit. They let it play because it was early. But I mean, it's really frustrating. You could tell Middleton's been kind of infuriated with Ennis throughout the whole series.
Yeah. Dude, James Ennis is a nice player, man. The Pistons had him for a little bit, and he's just a gritty, hard-nosed player. He's one of those guys that comes to the court and ready to work hard and do whatever the team needs him to do. He's a solid pick a solid player for the Magic right now, especially when they have so many injuries.
Both Ennis and Clark have came in and done really well for the Magic when I didn't really expect them to. So yeah. I think Gary Clark had 4 or 5 threes in game one. I will say, though, Middleton's been really bad, but someone on the Bucks needs to step up here soon to help him out, whether it's Bledsoe, whether it's someone on the bench like DiVincenzo, Kyle Korver, maybe whoever.
Lopez.
Kyle Korver. Oh, baby.
If he's hitting, it helps
Squeeze
so much
it out.
more. If he's hitting, it helps him out so much more.
Yeah, it really does. It really does, 100%. But all the teams we're talking about in contention for the title, they all got their 2 big guys. We can name them for every one of those teams. The Bucks, we don't know who the number 2 is yet. All right. Yeah. So moving on to the next one, we got the Raptors and the Nets. Trevor, I know you were especially impressed with this matchup because of how the Nets have played so far. So why don't you kick it off with this one?
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about it a little bit on the first episode. The Nets are rolling with a shell of their roster. You're looking at it, and it's obviously no KD, no Kyrie, no Spencer Dinwiddie, no DeAndre Jordan, no Nick Claxton, no Taurean Prince. So when you look at who they're rolling out, it's Carucks and
Karis LeVert, baby.
Yes, I was waiting to talk about him because I was trying to get the other role players. But really, he was the one I wanted to bring up the most because if you look at the box score, it's not going to tell the whole picture. But, man, I don't know if this is a coming out party for him or not because he's really good when he's healthy. He just hasn't been able to, show it on a stage.
Yeah.
But he is very good as a playmaker and has made this team a lot better.
Yeah, I remember watching him in Michigan for a number of years, and the year that I think it was CJ. You might be able to remember this as well, but was it after Burke and Hardaway left for the draft? That's when Karis LeVert kind of came out of his shell and kind of became a more dominant threat for the team. Yeah, I mean, this guy was 170 pounds, just a really skinny, kind of lengthy guy and stuff, but really was kind of shy. I guess I would describe his game in his early years in Michigan, but ever since he hit a point in time in Michigan where they needed him to step up, he did, and he's just gotten better and better. So I didn't know what he'd be in the NBA when I saw him get drafted. I can't remember where he got drafted specifically, but I didn't think that he really amounts to much, but maybe besides a decent role player on a team. But the fact that he's really coming out, and I think he's averaging close to 20, if not more per game, I think in the bubble. He's done really well for the Nets, and in the absence of all those guys that you mentioned, and it's gonna be interesting to see what his role will be when all those guys return to the core. The Nets are full strength next season for sure.
Yeah. LeVert's been outstanding for the Nets. Joe Harris has kind of been struggling, and then even Jared Allen's been a really good player. He's been able to get a lot more minutes in this series. So you're definitely going to see an improvement. The thing is, what's going to happen for them next year when they get all their players back? But for this matchup, I think Toronto is going to win the next 2 games and bring out the brooms and sweep. Toronto is just a well-put team. They don't have to just worry or focus on Pascal. Kyle Lowry can lead the team. Fred VanVleet. Next thing you know, you got OG and Serge Ibaka, Mark Gasol, Norman Powell. They have talent everywhere, and it's just they share the ball. They play team defense, and they work as one. It's not just relying on a superstar or an all-star to carry them. They can do it from so many directions, and they're going to put that effort out there. So with this series, I think I see it as a sweep. What's up, Trev?
I don't know how to say this right, but Luwawu Cabarro.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Alongside Karis LeVert and Allen, that dude can hit some shots.
Yeah.
He has been an absolute baller from deep. I mean, this is when you look at this Nets team and look at who they're going to have on their roster for like in the year, like next year alone. You're looking at KD, Kyrie, Dinwiddie, Jordan. Joe Harris is a question mark. I don't know if they're going to continue to re-sign him or not. Garrett Temple, Prince, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Carux, Musa, Claxton, and Cabarro. That's scary. That is a scary team, and I don't think we're ready for it. I think the move to fire Kenny Atkinson wasn't necessarily the best one, but if there's beef with Kyrie and star players, that's obvious.
Yeah.
I don't know who they're going to go after. Obviously there's rumors of Jason Kidd and Ty Lue.
Who doesn't Kyrie have issues with?
But Jock Vaughn has kept this team competitive, and I don't think anybody thought that. I mean, this is a team that was down 33 points in Game 1 against the Raptors and cut it down to 9.
Mm-hmm. And they almost ended the Trailblazers series or season.
Almost, yeah.
If LeVert just drives to the room and tries to get a layup instead of a jump shot, next thing you know, you're going to have the Suns. But just for their future, I'm a little worried just when they do get all these players back. The ball he only got one ball. So it's going to be a lot of ball. Just who's going to be freaking like the main people. Like, KD and Kyrie going to get theirs. So then that's less touches for everybody else. So it's going to be a team like Toronto who is willing to move the ball around and not just have that one player be the leader, like something that Kevin Durant likes and wanted when he played for Golden State. They're going to be fine. But for this series, I'm sorry, the brooms are coming out. That's just my belief.
I think people really just lost faith in the Raptors once they lost Kawhi. This team was still really good, still a very deep team, still has a championship pedigree. Yeah, they actually did have a better record. I mean, they just have so much better chemistry, and they forced guys like Aganubi and Fred VanVleet to step up even more this year, and they've delivered. And and I still love Marc Gasol. I'm sorry, I still love his ability to make plays and his vision on the court on the offensive end, his grittiness on the defensive end. He's not what he used to be like when he was in Memphis, but he's still a really solid center for them. And then we know the business about Lowry and Siakam becoming a budding star in this league. So, yeah, I think people really have slept on the Raptors this entire season. So I actually would love to see them make a deep run in the playoffs. I don't know. They might even be able to get past Milwaukee if they can't figure their stuff out if they were to meet, but we'll see. All right, moving on now to the next one. We got Celtics and Sixers, which has been kind of an underwhelming series so far. Obviously, no Simmons for the Sixers. They've been kind of depleted, and the morale's just been in the dumps. Celtics not really having that difficult a time in that series, although a few close games. So, CJ, what do you think about that series?
This series is bad. It was really hyped up. Both teams were supposed to be competitive, but only people showing up right now is Boston. Boston's lost Gordon Hayward for this series and for an extended period of the playoffs with his ankle injury, but Boston is having their way with the 76ers. Joel Embiid and this process of trusting the process, they just don't have the talent. They lost Ben Simmons. They have Tobias Harris and Richardson, but that talent is just not enough to keep up with Boston and the four players that they normally would have, but even just with Kemba and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, man, 1 year training with Kobe, and he's just turned into a stud. He's going to be one of the faces of the NBA, in my opinion. So with this, maybe the 76ers can pull out a victory or two, but I just see Boston winning this series ultimately.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, when you look at this Boston team, there's only been a few teams in history that have had so many players average 20-plus or had 3 players do it, and Boston's one of these teams when you have Kemba, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown all averaging over 20 on the season. And if you look at that, that's scary because obviously Kemba, while still being a little bit older, is there for the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to be a part of those. And I want to pose a question for you all. And I know I put it in the group chat before, but this was brought up to me. But if you had to base right now, Jason Tatum is a top blank player in the NBA.
Ooh. I'm going to say off the initial, I'll give him top 20 because he made an all-star team. And I think, there's 24 players so 12 on each side. So I'm going to say he's at least a top 20 because I believe he's definitely better than at least 4 of the people that make the All-Star team. But that's a big debate. But I'm gonna give him at least top 20 right now.
I think top 20 is fair.
Cody, what you think?
I think top 20 is fair, and I think that people shouldn't, I think, jump the gun too much on him and put him too high because he's still got so much more room to grow. I mean, this is his third season. I mean, this is really the first year that we've really looked at him and thought he could be, or having even conversation with this one, that he could be a top, X player in this league. So I think that top 20 is fair. I mean, definitely not top 10 yet, but I can definitely see him getting there in a few years. But I mean, like I said, he hasn't even entered his prime yet. So I think giving him room to move up those ranks is smart, because I think that, we know what he can do on the offensive end. And I think that with his size and his ability to score on any part of the floor, his ability to even finish at the rim, I think they can definitely be a top 10 player someday. But I think top 20 is a fair projection right now.
Who you got winning the series?
Hold up, really quick. I want to say my 2 cents on this.
Okay.
I'm going to go a lot higher than you all. I think Jason Tatum is in that 10 to 11 spot in the NBA right now. If you look at what he's done throughout this year, I believe it was the last month of basketball, before, the restart, he was averaging almost 30 a game while putting up incredible rebound and assist numbers as well. I don't think we need to wait for him to prove it anymore. I think he's there. I think this dude is pretty much damn near superstar level. And the real kind of debate for me came down to between him and Cat for 10 and 11. So I know that's kind of a stretch, maybe because Cat's probably a little more proven, but just because we haven't seen this dude do it for long doesn't mean he isn't there yet. I mean, Jason Tatum's a superstar.
I still think his ceiling is higher than where he's at right now. I still think he can get better. That's why I'm not putting him so high and don't want to rush him into a top tier like that. But I think that he's a damn good player. And you're right, he's made huge strides this year. And he was since the All-Star break or since the back end of the season, you said 30 points a game?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, he's been up there.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely not a boy. He's a man playing this game with these other top athletes. But if I had to it would be something I had to just look carefully at other NBA players and say, all right, would I put him top 10? I'll give him top 20 easily, but I don't want to crown him top 10 till I make my own.
I would put him top 10.
Yeah, I'll just have to make my own list first because I'm pretty sure there's 10 other players. But
I can name you 10 players right now that are better than him, I think, right now at least.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, go for it. Really quickly, though, I'm gonna rattle off Tatum's stats before you do it.
Okay.
23.4 points per game.
Right.
7 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and what was that? 2.3 stocks, which steals blocks. On shooting 45% from the field and 40% from deep. He's increased every single metric of his shooting from how many attempts. So he's taking 18 shots per game and 7.1 threes.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
if you're gonna name off 10 other players that are better than him right now.
Yeah. All right. LeBron, Kawhi, Giannis, Harden, Steph, Dame, KD. I'd take Kyrie. I'd honestly put Clay because he's been proven it for longer, and he's still one of the best two-way players in the game when he's on. I'd like to put Paul George in there, but he just I don't know. I think Tatum. I just haven't. I haven't. Huh?
I think Luka could be in the top 10.
Luka.
I think
Luka. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luka for sure. God, there's one other guy I'm missing here.
I'm pretty sure you could debate him being the top 10, but
you can debate it. But there's guys that are playing at such a high level right now that I just don't think you can put him. Did I say Steph?
No,
yeah.
I don't even
You said Steph and KD, which were 2 guys that I didn't really think of.
Yeah, well, I mean, you haven't seen. I mean, they haven't been in the talks in the bubble and everything.
Yeah.
I think you got to talk a little bit about Devin Booker too, with what he did in the bubble. Even, I mean, we've known of his ability to score the ball, but he really became a leader for that team in the bubble. I think at least you saw it on display more so because nobody really paid attention to the Suns this year.
Did you mention Dame?
I did say Dame.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you said Dame.
I said Dame.
Well, that's what you got to say, Dame.
Yeah, I mean Dame. Is it Dame, Harden, Giannis, Kawhi, LeBron, AD? I didn't even say AD. Like, so there's easily 12 guys I would put ahead of Jason. But again, like, I think that he can surpass guys in the coming years. I think he can surpass Clay. If we'll see what KD's like when he comes back. But
You just realized we just got super sidetracked again.
oh yeah, 100%. Well, you challenged me to name guys off the top of my head. So
I know I did it to you, but it's just I attend every once in a while. I get off and then I start thinking about. I was like, man, we got a lot more of these to do, and it's bound to happen again. This is where we go from like wanting to be like a 45-minute podcast to going on for like an hour and a half every time.
I know. Yeah, but no, like I said, I think top 20 is fair, like we said before, because I think that he's definitely in that tier from like 15 to 20, and I think that he definitely move up because he's like what 23. 22, 23. I mean, like, he hasn't even hit his prime yet, technically. He's showing that he's about there. I mean, he might even be there, but like, I definitely agree with you. I think that he's going to be continue to get better, and he's going to be considered a top 10 player in a matter of maybe 1 or 2 seasons, probably.
But who's winning the series? That's the ultimate
Celtics.
question.
The Sixers are such a. I mean, I don't know if it bodes well for them that there is no home and away technically, because they're just one of the worst teams in history in playing on the road that they've shown this season. But like their morale is down. They don't have Simmons. The odds are stacked against them. Like you said, you got Kemba and Tatum and Jaylen Brown are just all balling out right now. Can get a bucket whenever they want. I don't see the Sixers getting
Marcus Smart putting down defensive clamps.
Yeah, I mean they just got a solid team throughout, and even without Gordon Hayward, I mean I just don't see the Sixers.
The only disappointing thing about the Celtics that I've seen was them playing Wanamaker over Carson Edwards so much. That one sucked because I'm a big Carson guy. I wanted to see him.
Carson Edwards, the dog. If you watch Big Ten basketball, man, you freaking hate it when they played Purdue. That dude would kill you.
Yeah, but that being said, let's go on to the 4-5 matchup. We got the Heat Pacers. And the Heat are on
Duncan Robinson.
Is it a surprising 2-0 lead?
No.
Surprising.
I didn't think so either.
Pacers have always been like the Pacers brand for as long as I've been watching NBA. It's just been a scrappy team that's going to that can shock you in the postseason, like they did a couple years ago against the Heat. Even they're a gritty team, they're gonna grind it out and stuff, and that's what this identity of this team is right now still. But like I'm not surprised that the Heat. I know you're not surprised, Trevor. You picked the Heat as your dark horse team. Your boy, your superstar Jimmy Butler pick.
Yeah, he's played pretty well. No,
he has played pretty well.
He really has.
He has played pretty well.
If you look at it, TJ Warren was, 8 regular season bubble game potential MVP. I mean, he's up there. He's on the all bubble team. So, I mean, but he hasn't really done much in this series, and Jimmy's been the one going at him.
I saw something.
Personal.
I saw something on Twitter that said, debate me, TJ Warren is Jeremy Lin 2.0.
No.
I'm not gonna say
no.
Spark for like 8 games.
No.
Phenom of the NBA.
No.
Could this be the next guy?
I don't know, but I mean the Heat have looked really, really good. There's so much ball movement in their offense with all the shooters that they have. Whether it's Hero, whether it's Dragic, whether it's Duncan Robinson, who hit 6 or 5,
7 threes a day, tied the playoff single game record for the Heat.
And then having Bam,
Love
has gotten better. It gets better every time he gets on the court, pretty much is what it feels like. And then the role players that they do have, we talked about it before. This is a team that's primed to make a run. If they get there, they're going to have to go through Milwaukee. More than likely Milwaukee. The Magic fan in me says there's still a chance, but I think there's a possibility they still go on another run here.
No,
they're handling the Pacers. No for the Magic. That's the sports analyst in me, or the truther,
realist,
the fan and the Magic have a chance. The Magic fan in me is saying Markelle Fultz is going to make more threes every game he plays, and something crazy might happen. By the way, he's hit a couple. I don't know if you saw it. They don't look good, but he makes them.
Yeah.
He had a pull-up three.
That's what's going to tilt the scales for the Magic in this series for you. Is if Markelle Fultz starts hitting threes?
I want to see
threes. It's over. It's over.
I just want to see growth out of him in any way possible. He's gotten really aggressive with his mid-range shots, but there's been a couple like pull-up off the dribble threes that he's had. Catch and shoot's been a little bit of a different story, but any good sides of aggression for him is good in my book.
Yeah, but not surprised what's happened in that series.
And we got sidetracked again. Heat Pacers. Take 2.
Heat Pacers. Oh man. I see the Heat winning this series. I'm gonna give the Pacers 2 games. I think it'll go 6. I'm gonna be nice and say they're gonna find a way to win 2 games. They're missing Sabonis and T.J. Warren. He's been after his 8 bubble games. He's just been like nowhere. And then I'm giving Victor Oladipo a pass. Victor Oladipo was coming back from injury. Then the season got shut down, and then just to try to come and ramp it right back up and compete is going to be kind of challenging, especially with the serious injury that he has. So I'm going to give them a pass and say that they can win 2 games, but the Heat are ultimately going to win this. I'm going to say in 6. Jimmy Butler has been a dog. Bam has been great. Easily I think he's probably averaging at least 17 and 10 along with his NBA average. Tyler Hero, Goran Dragic has been really good. Duncan Robinson, of course, Jay Crowder, and the rest of the guys that they have on that team.
Yeah, they moved Dragic into the starting lineup this game, I noticed. He's just in complete control out there.
He's a veteran leader at the point, man.
Compared to your boy Kendrick Nunn. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. I don't even think I've seen Kendrick Nunn. Is he hurt?
I don't know. I watched the game earlier. I don't know.
I don't remember seeing him play. Dang. Gotta get my
He did not. He may be out for a little bit. He did play in the bubble, though.
Yeah, he did. He was struggling.
Right. So, Heat in 6. I got Heat in 5. I don't think the Pacers got a whole lot to run against them. I think motivated Jimmy Butler. They got a chip on their shoulder, that entire team.
I'm going with a sweep here. I don't see them mustering enough to get a game. Not having Sabonis really hurts them.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the All-Star. He was the catalyst team, but this Heat team just looks a little different right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move over to the West. Kick it off with the game that's going on right now. Lakers and Trailblazers. I'm telling you, man, I watched the end of the Trailblazers that game the other night. I watched the fourth quarter, and it kind of reminded me of March Madness. It reminds me of that team that just, working their tail off, trying to fight to get to everywhere and everything, like that lower seed, trying to clinch. CJ, you frozen?
Yeah, it is. Just on with it.
We got a man down here.
Yeah,
brother.
Just keep talking. We'll figure it out.
Oh, he's out.
He's out.
We'll wait for him to come back.
Who, me or CJ?
Oh, the box.
The box popped in.
Wait, what I miss?
Are you referring to CJ?
Yeah.
Or me? Oh, okay.
No, CJ.
CJ has popped out. Yeah, so looking at the West, we have Los Angeles, Portland, the game that's going on right now. It's a game that I didn't get to see the first matchup of. It's probably one of the few playoff matchups I didn't get to watch. But I think when you look at it, I don't think there's a number 1 seed in recent history that could have a more difficult road ahead than the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, this Portland team is a lot better than 8 seed worthy, I think. And that's just a credit to how tough the West is. And obviously when you have a motivated Damian Lillard out there who's averaging 43 points a game right now, I mean, this is a little bit scary. They just got Nurkic back. Nurkic is playing with a motive. They have Whiteside, who's probably the best backup center right now in basketball after averaging 17 and 14 and leading the league in blocks. On the Lakers side of it, though, this is a really talented team. So losing game 1, it doesn't surprise me because, the Trailblazers have something to prove. The Lakers have been looking a little off through the bubble, I would say. I listened to a couple of my friends who run the Lakers Lair podcast, and they were kind of talking about how things just didn't look right for a little bit. But if you look at it overall, they're going to get it going. LeBron almost had, a triple-double in 3 quarters or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to do what it takes. He's
23, 17, and 15 or something the first game.
Yeah. And I think when you look at this Lakers team, it's obviously they got the 2 stars and LeBron and AD, but I think other guys, you're going to see a lot of role players come up and doing really good things. They're going to need one of Danny Green or KCP to really start knocking down some outside shots. I think Caruso is going to be a great spark plug for him. And then just having JaVale McGee come in. Is JaVale playing?
Yeah, he's playing.
Yeah, I was about to say. I want to make sure. Yeah, having
him and Howard.
They don't have JaVale, do they? They only have Dwight?
No, they got Howard. Oh, they got JaVale. Pretty sure JaVale starts.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah,
Yeah,
but having him and Dwight coming in and grabbing some rebounds, Dwight can still protect the rim a little bit.
yeah, he can. Yeah. Like I was starting to say, this kind of feels like a March Madness kind of thing. So it reminds me of like when you're watching your conference tournaments, before the big dance, and you're watching a team that has to play from the first round on through, and they're playing like 4 games and or 3 games in 4 days and stuff, no rest. That's what the Blazers are right now. They've been having to play playoff games ever since the bubble started. So like they might be a little tired. Like I noticed they were bending over at the waist and everything, really huffing and puffing at the end of that game the other night. But they still finished strong because they're in it. They're flowing right now. They have good chemistry. Dame is playing out of his mind. I mean, in that game, he stepped across the half court line, got a high screen, steps over the logo, and then just drills a three without even any flinching, like without a flinch. Like he just, I think Dame has more confidence in hitting 40-foot shots than Danny Green has confidence hitting a corner three, which has been his bread and butter his whole entire career. So there's no chemistry right now. There's no really flow with the Lakers. Kuzma, for I think the third quarter in that game, looked to be their best scoring threat because AD just wasn't really engaged. LeBron was struggling. They both were struggling from the line, the both of them, which you absolutely can't do in the playoffs. But I mean, I've always loved Dame. Watched him over the years. I've always kind of been intrigued by the Trailblazers because they're a small market team that doesn't get much attention, but they can make some noise when they have everything going for them, and they have it all going for them right now. So I would love to see them take this series. I don't know if they will because I think LeBron is just going to ultimately decide what happens at the end of this series. But I think the Trailblazers can definitely take at least 2 games, if not 3. I'd love to see them take the series, but I'm hoping for at least a 7-game series between these two. I think it'd be fun to watch. The more Dame Lillard, the better.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is, I think out of all the teams that are rated like 5 and up, this is like the one team like I didn't want to see if I was the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would much rather the Mavericks would still be tough, but like, I think that this Portland team is a lot deeper. Looking at who they got right now, they have Carmelo, who's had a resurgence in his career, Nurkic, Whiteside, and then you look at guys like Zach Collins and McCollum.
You haven't seen much from Collins that much in this series so far, even.
Even Anthony Simons is a backup coming in and playing like spot minutes. He's a dude that's just kind of loaded with potential. That's just kind of growing as we speak. Younger dude. I think he came out of high school.
Hmm.
I mean, this is a team that like, and especially with the fact that they're motivated. That teams were calling Damian out. Or the Clippers were. It was just the Clippers, wasn't it?
Yep, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
They did that to troll their fellow LA team.
They called Dame out, and then Dame turned it on. I mean, I feel like Dame might be one of like the more quieter dogs in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you like, he may not like talk a lot, but when you like truly piss him off, you have messed up. And I think we're seeing that right now.
I tell you, the range that he's shooting from, he's just floating them up there and drilling them without any hesitation. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of Steph Curry, like just his confidence with wherever he's at on the floor. I mean, he's just taking over out there, and I think the Mavericks too. I think the both LA teams would have got tough draws because I think they would have rather played an OKC or a Utah instead of a Dallas or a Portland because both those two teams are playing with a lot of confidence right now. And the problem for the Lakers with the Blazers, I think the overriding problem. I mean, yeah, the Blazers have good depth and they can match LA up front, but it's the guard play that just crazy outweighs the Lakers. No Rondo, no Avery Bradley. You got Caruso and KCP. They're not going to be able to hold even McCollum, let alone Lillard. So. And I mean, I think it's the biggest difference in this series. If not so much if they can limit AD and LeBron, but more so if the Lakers can limit Dame and McCollum because of just the lack of competition they have for them at the guard spots.
Well, let's just take a moment and I was going to say it earlier in the East, but now that we've kind of done half the East and we're starting the West, this isn't normal. Like, this is not a normal playoffs by any means. This is stuff we're seeing things that would not happen in a normal regular NBA season. And, obviously the break has had a lot to do with that, but, like, teams are competing that you wouldn't think would compete, Normally, like, when you saw this you'd think matchup, like 2 games at home, 2 games on the road. No, there's no home court advantage. Every game's a fresh game. So, it really shouldn't be all that shocking to see teams have this, like, more of a fighting chance in these series, and you could see them exerting more energy. I think as we go on further into the playoffs, those, lower seeded teams will have it tougher. But right now, I think this is one of those things where it can be like, I don't want to say anybody's ball game, but the odds are definitely not as skewed that way. So I agree with you. I think this series is going to go on, and he just pulled up from deep and he missed.
Rare.
Yeah.
Claiming he was stroking.
But it drew my attention immediately.
Yeah,
it took me right out of my point.
Again, man, the other night when I saw Dame shoot a 40-footer, I had more confidence going in than Danny Green hitting having a wide open shot from the corner. I mean, that's just how off the Lakers were shooting. I mean, of course, the Lakers have been the worst shooting team in the bubble, but they're just not locked in right now. I don't see the Lakers being locked in. I mean, even when LeBron being the first player, by the way, in NBA history, playoff history, to do 20, 15, and 15 in a game.
Hold on, did you just see Gary Trent?
I'm not watching.
Gary Trent stole the ball and had like a fast break layup, but he knew LeBron was chasing him down and was on his back. So he just straight up extended an elbow into him and then went up for the layup. He got called with an offensive foul immediately. Like he straight up just hit LeBron in the chest. I was like, no, you're not doing this to me.
He's seen way too many highlights over the past 17 years to go up without looking back.
Yeah.
All right, CJ, you're a little tired of the party. What you got?
I got this series going 7, but I'm ultimately I picked the Lakers from the beginning of the season, so I'm gonna stay true to my pick and pick the Lakers. They're gonna find a way to do it. I think honestly they probably need the Danny Green and KCP just weren't getting it done, so you're probably gonna have to see a little more of J.R. Smith and even Dion Waiters. Like the Lakers have no true guard play, so Dion Waiters is somebody who can create a shot for himself. And even though sometimes he can get a little happy and think, oh, I'm the all-star, I'm the number one option, he can create a shot for himself, which the Lakers don't really have anybody else that can do that. But ultimately, LeBron's going to do what he does. AD, I feel like he needs to be a little better. Like, I think even though he's been, I believe the last 2 games he's put at least 25 points in each, his shooting percentage has been bad. Like, a lot of his points is coming just from the free throw line. You can't go like 8 for 22 or whatever he's been going. So as long as Anthony Davis gets a little more efficient, I see the Lakers being fine in the first round, but they're gonna have a dogfight on them through this round with Portland because Portland is no joke. They're not a normal 8 seed, and they're gonna have a dogfight for the remainder of the playoffs if they even make it to the remainder of the playoffs.
Yeah, I was gonna say like out of all the teams that are like the 1 through 4 in the West, you were already out on that. This is like the one matchup that like you didn't want to see if you were the Lakers was Portland. And right now, like my kind of gut feeling is like if there's going to be an upset between these 1 through 4, it's going to be Portland over Los Angeles, just based off what I've seen so far.
Yep.
I don't know if that's exactly a hot take or not because this Portland team still is really good.
No, I wouldn't say it's a hot take. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I can tell you what is a hot take is putting Gary Trent on is Coach Terry Stotts deciding that Gary Trent is going to be the guy to guard LeBron.
He's too small.
And he's proven it.
All right.
Moving forward, we got the 2-7 matchup. We got the Clippers and the Mavs.
Oh, this is a good one.
I love watching this game there.
Series is tied 1-1.
I love this one.
They did not have an answer for Luka when he penetrated the other night. They just didn't. And here's my problem with the Clippers. I think I can't remember. I think I picked them and the Bucks to be in the finals. I think the Clippers to win it. But the Clippers just look lazy to me. They really do. I mean, their attitude, the fact that they don't really show up until the fourth quarter when things are they finally wake up and say, "Oh, we're down by like 15 points. We need to kind of turn on, start playing defense." I mean, they proved it in game 1 when they were down. I mean, everybody's going to look at Porzingis being ejected as the reason why they lost. That's not why they lost. The Clippers woke up and they started playing defense. They started pressing the Mavs. They started playing their brand of basketball, and they got the job done. But I hate watching teams that just feel like they can just relax for beginning of a game. And especially in this series, the Mavericks and the Clippers are opposite teams. Like the Mavericks start out hot and then they fade away in the second half, especially in the fourth. The Clippers are the exact opposite. They don't really show up until the second half. So I think it's a bad draw even for the Clippers to have the Mavs because, again, that's a team that's young, motivated. Luka is becoming, he's a top 10 player in my eye. in the league, and he's becoming, one of the next budding superstars and faces of the NBA, in my opinion. Porzingis is playing well, and they're really gelling well together. Even role players like Trey Burke and Finney Smith are stepping up and making big shots. So when you have guys like that who are clicking, kind of like what the Blazers got going for them, that's a tough draw for even the Clippers, especially when we didn't have Pat Bev last game, who's a huge loss for them. You lose that toughness on the defensive end. And then when Paul George had foul trouble in that previous game, and he was struggling even when he was in, failing to knock down shots. So when you got to put it all on Kawhi Leonard, the guy can handle the load, but when you have such a talented team around him, you have to expect they're going to be able to step up and provide something to him.
All right. So for me, oh man, this is a hard one. So the fan in me says upset alert. There's a potential upset after watching these two games, but the realist in me says the Clippers will win this series. Now the thing is, with the first two games, I feel like the Mavericks have really been honestly dominating both games, and they would have. I feel like they could have won the first game if KP doesn't get ejected. That's just my personal opinion. So that's why I kind of have them on upset alert, which is weird because everybody knows even the Lakers, they're on upset alert too. The Lakers and the Clippers were like primed to be the two coming out of the West, but right now in this bubble environment, it's a little sketchy. A little more sketchy for the Lakers, but the Clippers have a little bit of fear. Luka is definitely a future face of the league, and Porzingis is you could put him a top 30 player, and one day, if he becomes truly healthy, he could be an MVP in the NBA one day. So
That's a hot take.
I don't think that's a hot take.
That's a hot take.
Porzingis
an MVP.
He could do it.
It's a hot take.
I'm not saying right now.
That's everything has to go right for that to happen.
He's not even the best player on his team.
Yeah.
But it can happen. I think he still has room to grow, and he's still recovering from his injury. I think
this is how we get sidetracked.
I think you're only seeing
throwing out claims like this.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little worried for the Clippers. I got them on upset alert. Dallas could surprise us. They're looking really good.
I think it's funny that the 1 and the 2 seed, I know we haven't gotten to the other matchups, but the 1 and the 2 seeds are more so on high upset alert, at least in my mind, than I have the Nuggets or even the Rockets. Not just because their series are 2-0 right now, but just the way those games have been played. I don't know. They're just far less entertaining series to me in terms of competition between the two teams. But
yeah, so when I look at the series, and I think kind of what we forget through this bubble kind of thing is it's still playoffs. It's still upwards of 7 games, and it's going to take a game or two to kind of get in rhythm. I think we saw that with the Bucks in Game 1. They came out, lacked energy, and the Magic kind of took it to them a little bit, and then they came out Game 2 when they were ready. But when you look at Game 1, I think the Mavericks kind of controlled it a little bit, and then Game 2, the Mavericks stole. But one thing I noticed is that in Game 2, the Mavericks bench came out, and they had 3 guys scoring double figures. And anytime you can get that from your bench, it's going to help you. So Curry had 15, Burke had 16, and Boban had 13. Boban almost had a double-double, by the way.
Love me some Boban.
And I think one of the issues with that is the Clippers are still trying to get into that rhythm. And if they don't, figure it out soon enough, they're really going to struggle with it. Now, Pat Bev, that hurts. So, but you're still trying to find somebody to come in and take over for that. So, you're trying out Reggie Jackson, who's, not Pat Bev. I guess just the way it is. He's not going to put the defensive clamps on. And then you have Zubac playing for Montrezl Harrell. And I noticed, for Game 1, Harrell played 10 minutes. Now he's playing 22. He's trying to get back into it. And you can tell he's rusty. He only shot – I think he missed 6 free throws in the game yesterday. So when you look at that, it's not – in my eyes, it's not really a lack of awareness or waking up. It's they're not in rhythm yet. Their team hasn't really gelled together yet. And it's because there's no consistency or anything. They're having to adapt to everything and change their roster around. So I think that's going to be tough. So, yeah, this is, a possibility that this series could stretch out a little bit. But the Clippers got to figure it out if they're going to go forward. I think they have the talent to do so, but it's all going to start with the defensive end and then finding those guys to come in and be the next man up.
The fact that the Clippers didn't have everybody to start the bubble and really throughout the bubble hurt them for sure. I think for them, the Lakers too, like even though we have them upset alert, we've talked about how good their opponents have been so far in the playoffs. I don't think either of those teams are really worried at this point. I think they both know that they didn't really go pedal to the metal in the bubble like some of the other teams did, like the Mavericks did, like the Trailblazers did. So they're thinking to themselves, we get a few games in, we get things going. Like right now, Lakers are whooping on the Trailblazers. Like they get a few games in, they get their legs under them and stuff. I think they're going to be fine. I think of course, they're thinking long term, unlike some of these younger teams who just want to make some noise and make a splash. But we'll see. I do want to throw someone out there.
Up next, we have the 3-6 matchup. We have Denver and Utah going at it. This has been kind of a more interesting series, and Utah needs Mike Conley back. They need him back really bad. It was funny to see Donovan posted a video of him walking around the bubble and Mike Conley stuck in his room. Like it looks like he's like beating on the window or something. But then, no, they really need him. They have lacked a true point guard in this series, and it's, Donovan Mitchell comes out and puts up, 57, and you still lose? When have you ever heard of a team putting up, 50-plus and losing? Except for did Book do it that one time when he put up 70?
Book's probably done a couple of times.
I mean, I'm sure it has been, but, in playoff basketball, for you to put up 57 and lose is something.
Yeah.
I think when you look at Denver's just strong all around. Michael Porter Jr.'s offensive rise, even though he's always had the talent to do it, but now given really kind of given the keys to the Ferrari for this to come out and be an offensive force. Even if he's not hitting, he's still a threat out there on the court. And I think that's been a huge plus for them. Slim Jokic is just as good as regular Jokic. I think this is – I also want to one small thing really quick. I thought Ingles wasn't going to play in the bubble. I thought I remember him saying something really early when they were talking about I'm not playing.
I think
yet he's still
on before the protocols were established,
and he's still getting cooked. Jamal Murray is owning him. Jamal Murray is owning Joe Ingles. There should be two things written on the whiteboard from the coach, and it's number one, no Joe Ingles on Mitchell. That's not happening. No more. No more of that. And then number two, how do we get Mike Conley? How do we someone do something to stall out this series so we can get Mike Conley back quicker? Those are the two keys for the Jazz.
Honestly, I watched both games, and honestly, I think this is another one of them series that's just gonna be a dogfight. It's gonna be who brings the intensity. Denver won the first game, but then the Magic looked really good, and they stopped Denver in the second game. So, really, I just think it's going to be who's going to be knocking down shots, who's going to get support from the bench, and who's just going to bring that defensive intensity. But this is another one of them series. Surprisingly, the West is deep. So, a lot of their series, they could go the distance, whereas in the East, some of these series should be easy sweeps. I can see this series going 7.
Jamal Murray versus Donovan Mitchell is the rivalry we needed for basketball. And it's not the rivalry we thought we were ever going to see, but two dudes under 25 going at it in the way that they are. I mean, in game 1, the last 5 minutes of regulation, watching Jamal Murray just own the Jazz. And I think there was one point he had 8 straight points. I mean, it was incredible to watch. Just his pull-ups, going around screens, reading what the center's doing, and then just pulling up, and then crossing Ingles. I mean, this is an incredible thing. And then Donovan on the other side, who pretty much had whatever he wanted in game 1, especially that slick little stop on a dime to tie it up, and at the end that was incredible. But game 2, I mean, I think you saw a difference when you look at the Utah. Jordan Clarkson came in off the bench and had 26,
yep.
28? Yeah, 26. And I think you alluded to it earlier. You're going to need bench help if you're Utah right now.
The Rockets Thunder, you were somewhat saying before you were cut in and out. Kind of surprising. Thought it was going to definitely be a little competitive. I'm still holding on to hope that the Thunder can pull off the upset. I personally just hate the Rockets because I hate the way they play. James Harden is a great talent. Russell Westbrook's a great talent. I hate everything else about the Rockets. I hate that they just rely on them to play, and I just don't see that being championship ball ever. So hopefully, I'm hoping the Thunder can just come back and win this series. But if not, it's looking scary. The Rockets could sweep this series and then move on and possibly get swept in the next series.
Oh, I don't think they get swept in the next series.
What? Who? Oh.
They'd play either LA or Portland. I don't think that they get swept. I think they could. I mean, if they played Portland, they can match up in the backcourt with them. I mean, if they played against the Lakers, I think that it's a possibility for a 5-game series. But
let's just leave it at that.
I mean, there's going to be a huge question mark on whether Russ is going to be available to go in the next series.
Yeah,
even the tail end of this series. I mean,
yeah.
I do think that when you put the ball in James Harden's hands as a point guard with this team, it looks different. It might look a little bit better. I mean, I know he takes a lot of ridiculous amount of shots, but they have gotten a lot of help from guys coming off the bench. Josh Green and McLemore.
Rivers.
And Rivers post or slam today. Oh my God!
Mm-hmm.
I put that on the Instagram. That was incredible. I watched that live, and I was sitting there talking to my mom for a second. She was asking me something, and I was just like, immediately was drawn to it, and was like, "Wait, what did you say?"
Shush! Watch this.
Bleep that. Mama's name's not coming out.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they haven't needed Russ to even, win the first 2 games of this series, I mean, it's definitely disappointing, but I think it just shows that honestly, just from a basketball standpoint, I don't want to see OKC move on past this round. I think that they're a team that's set up for the future. Obviously, they have really good young talent. CP3 is still showing that he's still a top point guard in this league with his play, but I mean, this team isn't built for a playoff run. I mean, I don't think that they should be a 5 seed even. I think that there's
not in this way. This needs to be Steven Adams domination party. He needs to take PJ to Hooker down low, and they just need to do ways and find some sort of just across the blocks screen. Let him steal and lob it down to him. Whatever. I mean, he needs to be putting up 20 plus a game here.
Yeah. No, I agree.
He needs to have a post game, but that post game has never truly been developed by him. So
yeah, I honestly believe that the Thunder are the weakest team in the West, and so I believe every team that's below them even is better than them. So and that's not a knock on them necessarily. It's just they're young and they're inexperienced, and I think that Billy Donovan's done a great job with them this year. I think that he definitely should be in the running for Coach of the Year for what he's been able to do with that roster. But yeah, this is just this is kind of a series where I think that the Rockets are going to move on pretty handily even without Russ. So.
Honestly, I'm not surprised by what their seeding is for this game. It's just right now they're just not putting it all together. There was just a lot of unknowns with how everything went down in all season for him. But Chris Paul is a great player, and now you're seeing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's a great player.
Mm-hmm. Schroeder's still playing well.
He's always been a great player. He's not an all-star player, but he's always been a very talented player. Definitely can be on the starting 5 for other teams. Then you have Steven Adams as a good big man. He does his role. You don't need him to score, but he does all the dirty work for you. So it was there was a good team. There's just a lot of unknown with them for why people weren't sure they would ever make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and speaking of teams that have kind of exceeded expectations, as we switch topics here, the Baltimore Orioles are 12-12. And are 4th in division. Yes, you can make any sort of cross-eyed mark. You can say anything you want. But they are a whopping 8-1 on the road. 8-1. So that's always a good sign. They're 4-11 at home. Not a good sign. But
you're killing Cody.
They are 12-12. They are still fighting. They are battling. But we are going to talk a little bit about baseball. So
I'm about to call my friend who works the railroad and see if we can get this train back on, man, because that was just a complete derail. My gosh, never transition from NBA talk to the Orioles again. Anything to the Orioles again.
Don't act like I don't know who your friend on the railroad is.
I didn't want to name drop him on here because he's already kind of salty. So
it's not like I don't know him and I'm not with him either. It's not like I didn't live with him as well.
Anyway, we're gonna move out. Shout out Ryan Ernst. On to the MLB. So a little bit of happenings beginning this week with some conduct.
Did
I
you
guess.
just cancel my transition with yours?
Yes, I did. I'm the
Did
host.
you just, what?
I'm the host.
I put a lot of work into that,
I'm the
man.
hostess for the mostest. No, you didn't. You just wanted an opportunity to talk about your stupid Orioles.
That's
all
what
you
we're
did.
supposed to do. That's my team. If you want to throw out Reds talk, go for it.
I'm not talking about the Reds. We just had our broadcast get canned because of using a gay slur.
Sounds like a job's open.
You hear about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Bremen just dropped an F-bomb on a hot mic talking about the city of Kansas City. Like it's
When are people gonna ever learn? Like, don't do anything with a mic.
14 years on the job and just
Regular old Jim Brockmeyer up there, huh?
Yep. So I'm sorry, Trev. If you want to restart your transition, no, actually, it's too late for that. We're just gonna move into the MLB. So the MLB.
Sleep mine in. Sleep mine in.
You didn't get to finish it. I didn't let you finish it.
We got the point across. Wenyan Gabriel. Oh, we got him up so hard.
So MLB, there's a situation between Fernando Tatis and the fine folks of the Texas Rangers. In that game this past week, in the 8th inning, Tatis at the plate, bases are jammed, 3-0 count. Normally, it's courteous to take that 3-0 pitch, take for what it is, but when it's right down the gun and you're a guy who's leading the league in home runs, it's kind of silly not to take a crack at it, in my opinion. Tatis did, hit a grand slam. Rangers weren't too happy about it. Everybody's making a big deal out of it for no reason. CJ, what do you think about it?
I hate it. This is right here. This is why only select few of the younger generation still watch baseball. Like, these unwritten rules are ridiculous, and honestly, they're old, ridiculous, and honestly, they make the game boring. So, like, one that Fernando Tatis broke was basically swinging on a 3-0 count.
They were up 10-3 at that point as well. They had a huge lead late in the game.
That shouldn't even matter. Like, you're here to win a game, and if you're a pitcher and you just leave it out there for me to hit, I'm gonna swing. My job is to put points on the board. So, like, you can't get mad because there's been plenty of games. It doesn't happen often in the MLB, but there's been plenty of games where you've seen teams come back in the last inning and put their rally caps on and win a game. And because I wanted to follow the unwritten rules of baseball and not swing? No, I'm gonna swing, and if I hit a home run, that's your fault. Just like these other unwritten rules of not bunting to break up a no-no. I don't want to get no-no, or even just pimping my home runs. I know, like, if I hit a home run, I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna toss that bat high in the sky, or I'm gonna stare at it and watch it because that's exciting. Like, I hate these unwritten rules, and until the MLB fixes this. And like, this just can't exist. Baseball's always going to struggle with the younger generation.
For sure.
Yeah. Not the biggest baseball guy here, but
go Orioles.
But go Orioles. I think when you look at a situation like this, and what happened, and whether you want to get on Tatis or for not following the unwritten rules of baseball, shut him up. I mean, this is like a situation. If you don't like it, stop him. If you don't, then that's on you. He's out there. He's gonna do what he needs to do. Whether it's get on base, whether it's get a hit. He's playing for his contract. He's playing, for his future as well. So regardless of score, if he saw an opportunity, he should go for it. I mean, this shouldn't be a thing. If you're the Rangers, you just got your ass beat. It doesn't matter whether it's by 7 runs, whether it's by 11 runs.
Yep.
I don't even know what the game score was, but I'm just kind of assuming it was.
It was 10-3 before the home run. Yeah, finished up 14-3. But yeah, no, I agree. And Tatis he's leading the league coming into today, leading the league in home runs with 12, leading the league in RBI with 29, I believe. He's top 20 in batting average. I mean, he's going to be one of the faces of the league, if not by the end of this year, next year for sure. But it's funny because he even apologized after the game. He said, yeah, maybe next time I might even take that pitch, which I think is nice to see from a young player like that, because he realizes that, okay, even though it's kind of a, outdated, unwritten rule, I'm I still kind of have respect for older people, generations and stuff like that who watch the game and who value it like that. But it's actually funny. I was looking into this a little bit. So last year in 2019, hitters that swung on 3-0 pitches, 11% of the time, hitters swung on a 3-0 pitch, no matter what the score was or anything like that. As opposed to 10 years ago, back in 2009, that percentage of people that swung on 3-0 pitches was only at 5.3%. So over time, you've seen people just say, the heck with it. And there's even been pitchers that came out. Colin McHugh, who was a former pitcher for the Astros, of course, we don't like him. And he actually opted out of the season. He even said, the hitters that don't give you free pitches are the hardest at bats. And those are the guys you should be trying to get out harder than anyone else, especially a guy like Tatis, who's one of the best in the game right now. If you're throwing a lollipop over the plate, of course he's going to smack it. I mean, that's his job as a hitter, like we've said before. So I have no problem with him doing this. It is kind of cheeky if you think about it, especially with the lead that they had. I think that he did everything right by apologizing, at least formally, at least showing that he understands what the unwritten rules are and understand what people are saying. Whether he truly believes that he made a mistake or not, we don't know. But I think that it was wise for him to at least come out and say, hey, maybe it was kind of a cheeky move. But again, what happened in the past, what happened.
Sorry.
Not locked in.
NBA update. I was really excited because they have Carmelo Guard and LeBron, and that just seems right.
It is right.
But then LeBron alley-oop to JaVale McGee, and McGee just caught it and went down with it. Really disappointing move by McGee.
I didn't mention it. I think Melo should be on LeBron the entire series, honestly. There's no player on that court who knows LeBron better than Melo. I mean, he's probably one of the Blazers' best wing defenders, honestly. I know he's older, but yes, he is.
Melo's never been a great defender.
I know. That's what I'm saying. The Blazers
Melo's wide open. They're not going to hit him.
The Blazers got great interior defense, but they do not have great wing defenders, unfortunately. But Melo is probably one of those guys. And I think that he's honestly a good match for LeBron because, again, he knows LeBron's game in and out.
All right, well, Juan Soto's doing something.
So
hold up. Before we go to Juan Soto, because
we just spent like an hour and 15 minutes talking basketball.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had
we can't do baseball like that.
This is about Tatis.
This is my
hey,
fault
young fella, don't apologize for hitting home runs. Like I said, I think the rules are stupid and old. And I know Cody's saying you somewhat it's cool he respecting the traditionalists. Hey, traditionalists, it's a new game. It's a new era. None of that old stuff doesn't matter anymore. I hate it. I get it all if you don't want to talk about a no-no or a perfect game to your pitcher, sure. But getting mad at another team because they hit a home run, and so they're just supposed to not score, and then if you come back and win, I hate that. Just do your job. Stop them. It's simple.
I agree. Throw a better pitch. Respect that he's one of the best in the game, and respect that. I mean, he's
throw a complete ball.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, base is jammed though. I mean, it's a grand slam. How often do you see grand slams? I mean, they don't come every single game, and especially players only hit a handful of them in their careers even. So it's one of the most exciting things you can see in baseball anymore, and for a guy like Tatis to do it as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm completely fine with it. I just think it wasn't a bad thing that he decided to publicly kind of address where he might have gone wrong.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Even then with the Juan Soto, so the controversy with him lately has been that his last home run that he hit, I forget the team that he was playing with.
Braves.
They were mad because he admired his home run just a little too long.
444-foot blast.
Yeah,
it's a blast.
So then the pitcher decided to bark at him, and he did exactly what I would have did.
Oh.
I would've slow trotted across the diamond myself. I'm sorry you threw me an easy pitch. I hit a home run. Get over it. Do your job. Strike me out. If you care so much, strike me out. Because if I hit a home run, I should be proud that I hit a home run. It shouldn't just be circling the base, especially when there's no fans in the stadium. You got to make it somewhat fun. I think it's old, and I hate that people try to give especially the Latin community and a bad rep with baseball because they have a different style and they add flair to their game. Because even in Korea, if you ever watch Korean baseball, that's a real big thing, the bat flips. So I hate it, honestly. I hate these unwritten rules.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of guys admiring like that. I mean, whenever I played sports, I always played pretty modestly when I did something really well. there's times where I got fired up and I celebrate and stuff, but like I don't really care for the whole backflip thing. But if you're standing there and you're admiring and you're just kind of standing there and not actually taking your trot around the bases, I have a little bit of issue with that. But I'm not gonna, if I'm a pitcher, I'm not gonna go bark at you. It's your fault. You threw a lollipop towards him and he cranked it. I mean, if a guy hits a ball 445 feet, you didn't throw a good pitch. I'm sorry, you did not throw a good pitch.
Again, this is the same thing as earlier. He hit a shot on you and he admires it. How are you going to shut him up?
Yep.
Strike his
Pitch
ass
better.
out.
Throw a better pitch. Yeah.
Or beam him. One of the two. You can do one of the two. I'm
But
okay
it's
with
funny.
both.
It's funny.
I'm okay
because
with both. If you want to hit him, hit him.
the pitcher, Will Smith, as soon as he saw him admiring, he barked at him. Soto's response was he took his sweet old time going around those bases, which I think was hilarious.
The next bat, no, never mind. I was thinking about Manny Machado, but
Yeah, Machado got thrown at. Yeah.
yeah. But then the things with these unwritten rules is then next thing you know, pitchers are throwing at you, and like that can get dangerous. Like some of you pitchers can throw 100 miles per hour, and you're throwing a fastball. Like I get it, you don't like it, but come on, man, like grow up. You're trying to injure another man because you suck. That's how I see it. You suck. You threw a bad pitch, and you look bad now. So
You get paid for it.
like, why you mad, bro?
Yep. Nationals lost that game too. Braves came back and won. So
Yeah, they were playing the Braves. Like
they got the dub at the end. So
but, see, that's stupid. Like you mad, but then you won. Like, all right, y'all won. That's all that matters.
Oh!
exactly.
That's even like the Jorge.
Oh, no. They did not give
Trevor's
that
having
to
way too much fun watching the NBA right now while we're supposed to be doing a pod. Just saying. but yeah, like the Jorge Batista with the playoffs when he hit that home run also off the Rangers. Next thing you know, the next time he's playing the Rangers, he's getting into a brawl with Odor. So these rules are stupid.
Yeah. I 100% agree. All right. Well, let's move on to a topic that Trevor actually wants to pay attention to. I'm going to bring him out of timeout here. All right. So, college football. Oh, see Trevor smirk on Trevor's face now. What's he doing? Oh, he's doing some. He's Snapchatting.
I'm out of timeout.
Yeah, you're out of timeout. Yeah, we're in college football. We're to your boy Lane Kiffin in the all that fun, exciting stuff down south.
You know what?
You want to talk about it?
Box, how's your birthday going? Box, tell me about your birthday. Did you get anything? Did you do anything?
Box.
Dude, wrapped up. Dude's wrapped Destiny, right?
No, I finished that. I was wrapped up on that, yeah. That stuffed some I was stuffing my face with some Chicago deep dish, Good shit. From Pizzapopolis.
Nice.
Probably some of the best pizza out there.
Drank a lot of Corona seltzers. And now here. Just kind of ended up here,
Just stuck in. Kept eating codes until he fell off. Yeah, Box. So we're talking about college football, and my connection's unstable again, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
A little bit.
I've been here.
All right, let's hope that internet is back in college football. And we're going to talk a little bit about this whole eligibility transfer situation. Now that things have kind of died down and just when we think college football is settled into what it's going to do, it reels us right back in and it says, you know what? We're going to have a decision coming up, and I think it's coming up tomorrow, that we might let players have granted another year of eligibility even if they play this season. Does that seem right, or is that just kind of out there to let them have another year?
I think it's dumb. If you play, you play. That's your year. I don't care if it's a shortened schedule. I don't care if it's unique circumstances. Like, I honestly, I don't know. If you have a season, it's up to you if you want to play or not. If you don't want to play, I don't think you should be given a year of eligibility. If you don't want to play, even if you do play, I don't think you should be given a year of eligibility. It's not fair to previous generations that came through. I know they'd have to go through this unique situation and, dealing with possibly playing in the spring instead of the fall, or possibly not even having a season. But if they don't have a season, yeah, give them their eligibility. But if they play and you just give them another year just for the heck of it, just because of the unique circumstances. I don't like that. I honestly don't. Even if it means that we get to see some of the players like, the Justin Fields, the Trevor Lawrences of the game continue on their college careers if they want. I mean, I still don't think it's worth it still.
Trevor Lawrence going for 5 NCAA championships.
5.
Or 4. He lost.
Not
He didn't
1.
get a lot.
Not 2. Not 3.
4.
Not 4.
No, he lost last year.
This whole waiver thing, I don't know. I'm always for the players, so if there isn't a season, sure, give them that extra year. But I'm assuming right now the SEC and the ACC, they're full steam ahead, and whatever other conferences haven't said they weren't gonna not play. But for the most part, like, people, we only care about the SEC and the ACC. Like, if they play, that's on them. Then I don't see why you would just give them an extra year. Maybe those listed on the depth charts as the 4th and 5th string that just weren't going to ever see the field anyway. But then you would have to find a way to make them redshirt or whatnot. But just to give people an extra year, I don't know. It's above me. So if they do it, that'll be interesting, especially because how they're going to dictate scholarships. Schools are going to be like, oh, I'm not giving out these extra scholarships because that's just above us when it comes to, like, the money thing. So then you're just going to start seeing, with everything that's going on, you might just start seeing a mercenary effect where players are just like, all right, I'm transferring to this school because they're guaranteeing me a starting position for the season, and I can show my skills off for this 1 year and then go to the draft or graduate.
I think the other interesting part of what's going on transfer is we're starting to see some bigger names come out and say that they want eligibility for transfers. And primarily, Ole Miss connection, Lane Kiffin has been very adamant about it. And he said, yeah, we should let players who aren't playing who aren't having fall seasons be allowed to transfer with immediate eligibility. And while I agree that I think we should be seeing players play, I think this is more on the NCAA to not just have a plan in place for all this. I mean, letting the conferences decide what they were going to do is really kind of putting a hindrance on all this,
Stupid.
Like, if I'm a player and I'm playing, like, if I'm Rondale Moore, if I'm Justin Fields, whoever, that's in the big Panay Sewell, Oregon, would I even want to go somewhere else and play my draft if I know my stock is? That's my question for you all, because I think a lot of decision, like, to play or whatever, I think there are some there that believe the L is one of the reasons, like, that they want this to happen. Saban wants the extra year of eligibility, and Bama loses quite a bit of the draft every year. But I did some numbers, and if you look at the NFL draft, there's around draft 85 college players on scholarship, so that's 11,050 total players that you have playing. 2, because junior, seniors, this is an estimate. Obviously, there's going to be a couple redshirt sophomores in there. So now you're down to like 5,525 or 5,050 or so. I don't know, somewhere around that. You're looking at, like, guys who are going to season or knowing that they're going to get. That's probably around 30, because if you're not first on grade, or senior top mock, you're not going to do it. You're looking at maybe 3.4% of players worrying about this. So if I'm college football NCAA, I'm figuring out how a way I can make this season happen. And I'm thinking about the NFL, because the NFL will find a way to wants to sit out because he's going to. We have everything going together. What are your all thoughts on that? I cut out.
I was hoping everyone else heard all that cutting out.
So I was trying to keep a straight face, let you get through it, man. But my God, I don't know half of what you said.
That was bad.
That was
honestly made
awful.
it a
I'm
million
sorry.
times better.
God.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, dude. I wish your connection was better. Listen, I didn't want to interrupt you because I knew you were rolling with your thought, and but from what I gathered from what you said, that I heard.
I'm gonna have to make a really inspiring video with that entire spiel.
That country road Wi-Fi is rough, man. Holy crap. Yeah, I know a concern for college football is the NFL schedule as well, because they don't want it to conflict too much with the combine, with the draft, whenever it is, because the NFL originally said they weren't going to push their dates back. I think they will now that some conferences officially move their seasons to the spring. But I mean, Trev, you alluded to it at the beginning of when you were talking about how the NCAA is. I mean, it's no joke. It's not a very well run organization, obviously, especially when it comes to football. But them letting the conferences pretty much pick and choose what they want to do. I mean, as soon as, in my opinion, they should have, as soon as some conferences said they didn't want to play, they should cancel the rest of the conferences schedules for the fall. It makes no sense having SEC and ACC play in the fall and have other schools play in the spring potentially. I don't think there's going to be a season still for college football. I think it's either going to get canceled from the jump, or they're going to get a game or two in and realize that it's just not going to happen, work out in the long term. But
let's just segment it. I'm depressed on. I don't want to hear it anymore. Just cut it out. You didn't hear half of what I said, so you're elaborating on a point that no one else is.
That was entertaining.
I didn't even hear what that was.
I just know
We're cutting it. We're cutting this part.
All right.
No, that's gonna.
I'm sorry, dude.
I'm gonna need that clip for.
Is there storming out there?
For the gram.
What do you want these clips?
I want the clip for the gram, some bloopers.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I wish I could have. I wish I could have. I wish I could have elaborated more on whatever you were saying, but I only got half of the pie, so I don't know if I can effectively talk about what you were saying.
Hopefully, this doesn't mess up with my little section.
No, Box, you're good.
No, I'd like Trevor's reaction times.
All right, should we just cut to the Boxes segment? This hasn't been our best episode.
It's great.
We'll come back stronger.
You gave me like 2 or 3 minutes of great content right there.
Enjoys this. You are the only one.
But NFL, NCAA.
Oh no!
Oh no, he's screwing with us.
He's
screwing with us.
All
no
right.
Box winning the show there.
All right, Box. What you got, Box?
All right,
It's now time for the segment of the show you've all been waiting for. Is time for the Box.
All right, sports
Hot box.
dorks.
Hot Box.
Y'all ready for some sports trivia?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're not going to do some crazy rules. It's just point-based. Unless these questions get really hard, I'll make some rules. All right. First question. In the NFL, how many footballs must each team provide for the official?
Each team in a game?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 8.
The click of the throat kills me. I'm going to say like or something.
What's your answer, Trevor?
20.
You were the closest. It's 24.
24. Wow.
Why do you need 24 footballs before a game?
Because those punters need a lot of practice.
All right.
The punters, yeah.
Question 2. Who was the first player in NBA history to play over 1,000 consecutive games? You've got 10 seconds.
Oh, don't put a clock on it. Let's think a little bit. You can't just throw out the entire history of the league. Who played the most consecutive games?
That was a joke.
I'm just gonna go real.
Trevor,
old.
stop it. I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna mute you.
What's
You
doing?
looking down.
You Googling? Well, I
Well, your
his
screen's
camera-
frozen on you
Snapchat.
looking down.
Chatting.
I'm gonna say it's Bob Cousy. I might be wrong though.
I'm gonna say Bill Russell.
All right. What's your answer, Cody?
Bill Russell.
I gotta believe it's like an older player, a much older player. This is 1,000 consecutive games.
Yep, the first.
Play 80 back then. I think they did. That's gonna make it harder. I want to change.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say Moses Malone.
All right. Are you locking in your answer?
Locked in.
Answer.
Hold on. I'm not.
Oh.
I'm gonna say it's a dude in the 80s.
I really don't even know. I'm just gonna throw it. I'm gonna throw it out there and say Jerry West.
Are you locking that in?
Sure.
You're all wrong. It's AC Green.
That's an 80s guy though. That's a Celtics guy.
No,
70s, 80s.
He's a Laker guy. Showtime.
You're right. He was.
All right.
You're
That
right.
point goes to the box.
Wait, he's in it too?
I guess
No.
the box is.
Every wrong question goes into the box.
We're
Just made
stumping
it
the
up right
box.
there.
Stump the box.
I don't know these, but
Unpack the box.
the sports ball man wins this one. All right. Question 3. Since Trevor, when I asked what kind of sports you guys wanted, and he said anything, how many players in handball from each team are allowed to be on the field?
5.
10.
5.
No,
7.
no, no. 6.
Locking it in.
Are you
5.
locking in yours, Cody?
7.
All right. Cody gets another point. His first point, actually. Trevor got the first point.
Wait, is it 7?
Keep it score.
Yes.
It's
Go,
like,
baby.
they have like 2 people that have to stay on the defensive side.
Let's go.
Everybody else can be on the
All
offensive
right.
side.
Question 4. As of the 2016 Olympics, which NBA player has been on the U.S. Olympic basketball team a record number of times?
Carmelo.
Ooh.
Carmelo.
Locking in your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying Carmelo too, CJ?
Yeah.
I did hear Trevor
I'll
say
say
it first, though.
I'll say Carmelo. Yeah.
You all said it. So Trevor gets it because he said it first.
Oh my God.
That's 2.
The only one that's been on the team since like his rookie year.
That's 2.
All right.
Trevor didn't get the first one right though. He was just closest.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's complaining because they're losing.
But
Okay,
that was a number though.
You didn't ask. You didn't say who could get the closest. You asked.
Yeah, you know
a
what?
specific
Yeah,
number.
for that first one, you get 1 point now, Trev. You made a good point. Box gets 2 points now.
Yeah.
Wait, what? No, you just took away my box.
Because he asked for a specific number.
Yeah,
You
Cody
didn't give him a
raised.
specific number.
Cody
What
raised
kind of birthday present for me is this?
Cody
It's his
raised
birthday. You can do what he
Cody
wants.
raised a good point.
That was yesterday.
That's
Still today.
Yeah. All right. Our 5th and final question.
Can't see you get on the board.
The longest field goal kick in NFL history is 64 yards, set by Matt Prater. However, who did he beat? The record of 63 yards.
Janikowski.
Are you locking in that answer?
Janikowski.
What is
What's
your
the
answer?
dude that Anderson? Martin
It is-
Anderson.
It is Janikowski. God darn it.
Martin Anderson.
No, it's Janikowski.
You're locking in?
Yeah.
You're all wrong. It's Tom Dempsey.
Who? Nah.
1970 for
Dude.
the New Orleans Saints.
When did Prater make that
Right? Afraid?
64-yarder?
He beat.
Who
he
did-
beat. The question
who
was.
did-
He beat.
Who did Kiffin send out like a 75-yard goal
He
like
beat-
that?
You see, Janikowski did have it.
Or was it? No, it was
He-
McAfee.
He only challenged
Didn't
the
McAfee
record.
get to have
He
like
got
a
the
long
same
one?
amount. But Tom Dempsey was the first to hit 63 yards.
All right. Well,
Lightning round.
Yeah.
oh,
Ooh,
What strange quirk did Tom Dempsey have?
an extra toe.
no. He only played with one cleat on. Probably a lightning round if you wait for everybody.
He kicked the ball with his toe, not the side of his shoe.
You're all wrong. He is born with a stub for a right foot.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
Yeah, I was
All right.
close.
You guys better get your A game for next time. Box is winning.
Was there only
Box.
one question for the lightning round?
Box, it's much of a lightning round.
The bonus doesn't go into mine. You know, that's just bonus for you guys.
That's our treat.
So,
Yeah.
round question.
Man, Trev, that West Virginia internet is something else.
Dude, that was bad, dude. I'm sorry. I feel bad, but that was awful.
All right, I'm out.
Hey, badi. That's all, folks.